What's up, everybody? Namecoach Dustin here, Fantasy Smack Talk. The playoffs are upon us, so Dustin, give these guys some tips.
So this is mainly just advice for daily setup leagues. You know, this time of year, a lot of guys are going to be getting days off, especially on teams where they're not playing for anything. So as you head into the playoffs, make sure you have as much, what I like to call X protection. You know, you get the little X next to your name, you guys get them out of your lineup. You got to have pretty much a backup for every position on your bench, because you're going to have a lot of guys getting those X's, getting those off days. Make sure you have 2 catchers. Those are the guys that get the most days off. You got to maximize your at-bats. It's not about any type of trade value, anything like that at this point. It's all about just getting at-bats and racking up those points.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about those guys that we should be adding in all leagues. And I'm going to start out with Dexter Fowler. You know, he was hurt. He's come back. He was pinch hitting, but now he's playing full-time again. And this guy's got a quadruple double. Gotta love that in steals. He's got it in doubles, triples, home runs, all over 10 in each of those categories. So if you're in a league that counts a ton of stats, obviously he fills it up. Plus for the year, he's batting over 300. Last 30 days, batting 387. This guy is one of those guys Dustin's talking about, perfect X protection. Get him on your team.
I like that you're buying into my little
Already,
X protection.
Just like that.
Next, the only other guy we got must add in all leagues, Brett Anderson. One of the better young arms in the game. He's kind of been, you know, up and down through his short career.
I loved him 2 years ago.
Yeah, but he's back. He's back from injury, owning 60% of leagues right now. 20 innings pitched so far since he's come back. 2 earned runs, 15 Ks. You got to pick him up just in case he keeps that up.
All right, now let's take a look at the deeper leagues. And the first guy we're going to talk about is a guy that's on my team that I've been just loving, and that's David Murphy. He's only owned in 40% of leagues. Outfielder for the Rangers. I mean, this guy's been ridiculous. You know, the last couple weeks he's been batting 346, 4 home runs, 14 RBIs, and he's been fairly, you know, not even more than fairly, extremely consistent. I see no reason why this slows down. Maybe a little bit, but I love the guy.
Didn't know you liked David Murphy that much.
Love David Murphy.
Next, we got Marco Estrada, starting pitcher from Milwaukee, only on 25% of leagues. You know, he's kind of an older guy. You know, he's been around for a little bit. You know, hasn't necessarily been able to put it all together, but he's really been impressive as of late. Get this: his last 3 outings, 18 innings pitched during those 3 outings, 27 strikeouts. I mean, that's got to get your attention. You know, he's definitely worth an ad, and you know, a lot of 5x5 leagues where Ks really, you know, have a big impact. He's worth an ad in a lot of leagues if you're looking for a starting pitcher that can strike people out.
Before I talk about the next guy, I cut Carl Crawford for David Murphy, and God, do I hate Carl Crawford, so it's a little of that. All right, Delman Young's the next guy, and as Dustin would like to always point out, the former Twinkie. He ain't a Twinkie no more. He's on Detroit, so he's playing well. The last little bit, he's been batting over 300. He's going to give you some power numbers. Again, it's an outfielder, so he's got good protection for the X guys, and certainly look to add him.
All right, next we got Jordan Pacheco for Colorado. He's been on this show a couple of times this year, and he's been consistent throughout the whole year, batting over 300 almost the entire year. It's kind of surprising to me that he's only on 10% of leagues. Kind of a younger guy, dual position eligibility, great guy to pick up and stash on your bench in case your regular first base or third baseman is out for the day.
All right, now we're going to be talking about a shortstop, only owned in 5% of leagues, and that's Jeff Bianchi for the Brewers. He's been playing great in the last 2 weeks. He's batting 348. He's got 3 home runs as well, so it gives you a little bit of pop. Again, only owned in 5% of leagues, and shortstop's always a tough position to fill.
Last guy I'm going to talk about and add in deeper leagues is Pedro Alvarez. 27 home runs this year, and he's only on 55% of leagues. Now, this guy has all the upside in the world. You know, they have been some digs on his conditioning and his commitment, but if he puts it all together, he's going to be the real deal. And for third base, a third baseman that has 27 home runs only on 55% of leagues, it's kind of surprising. I know he's been all up and down, but you know, he might finish the year strong, so I think he's worth an ad in a lot of leagues.
All right, Dustin's got one of his minor leaguers that he loves for you to keep an eye on. So, Dustin, the obligatory minor league guy with stats. It's now in the majors, obviously, but loves his minor league stats.
Let's make sure I can say his name right. Jerickson Profar. Youngster. This guy was born in 1993. Kind of sad writing about a guy that was born in that year, and even in the 90s in general. Only owned in 10% of leagues at this point. Shortstop for Texas. You know, he bursted on the scene, had 2 hits his first game. You know, a lot of hype around this guy. He's definitely worth keeping an eye on. A lot of people are going to run and pick him up. I don't necessarily think it's to that point yet. But here's my favorite thing about this kid. Only weighs 165 pounds. In 480 at-bats in the minors in 2012 before he got called up, he had 47 extra base hits. I mean, that's impressive for a guy that only weighs 165 pounds. So keep an eye on him. Pick him up if you're desperate for a shortstop, any type of keeper dynasty league. Definitely a guy to look at.
All right, let's take a look at some of those questions that are on our forum. And Dustin, I'm going to give you one first, and that comes from Conhorn98. And he wants to know if he should be trading Hamels and the Steven Strasburg for Gio Gonzalez and Johnny Cueto.
You know, this one is definitely tough because what do you do with Strasburg right now? I mean, I think they probably will do some sort of shutdown for Strasburg. So that being said, I would actually like to be on the Gio Gonzalez Cueto side of this just to guarantee having those two solid arms for the stretch run. So that's where I'm going to stand on this trade, but I do want to go on a little bit of a rant for Strasburg. How do you shut him down if you're the Nationals? You're in a World Series race right now. I mean, they have a chance of winning the World Series. You got to have Strasburg in the playoffs. The thing that bugs me about it is they're just kind of picking a number out of the air, like based off of what the doctors have said, but it's just a guess. Let's just see what happens.
The best thing that Dustin was saying to me about prior to the show about this, it's an innings count, not a pitch count. So if some innings last longer than others, it doesn't matter. They don't take that into effect. Either way, pitch the damn guy. You got a chance at a World Series. Ridiculous.
All right, our next forum question comes from PCS02. With David Murphy playing so well, should they drop Ben Revere or Hunter Pence before him?
Now, in all honesty, I do say yes, but out of the two, I would drop Revere if you're doing okay in steals, and then I would drop Pence if you're doing okay in the power department. You know, at this point of the year, you want to take these guys that aren't performing as well. They've kind of been up and down all year. Go ahead and cut them for the hot bats. The season's almost over, and you know you want to go with the hot bats going into the championships.
So that's it for our Buy Lukey Baseball Show. You learn something new every day. Brent is in love with David Murphy.
David Murphy!
I had no idea until today.
I always loved him.
Check out all our football stuff. Our salary cap league is up and running. Click on the fantasy games, sign in. You'll see it in the middle of the page. FST League. It's going to be good times. We'll be in there.
It's awesome. I'm going to win.
You're not winning anything.
Winning!
David Murphy's going to win.
Yeah, well, clearly he'd win.